Hello and welcome to Outlook on Air. This podcast is designed to keep you connected with all things Outlook, with special emphasis on our enrichment program and its many activities and services. On this podcast, we'll hear from Outlook associates, donors to our many programs, clients of our services, and much more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this edition of Outlook on Air. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Outlook on Air, and I'm your host, Dennis Nelson. Good to be here once again with another busy podcast, all kinds of fun things. In fact, when I came in here, still found a few people recovering from the
Tee It Up Foresight Golf Tournament.
And I understand there was a lot of wonderful participation in this year's event, 54 teams altogether. Boy, that's an incredible turnout for the event, so certainly happy to hear about that. In fact, we're going to hear a lot more about the golf tournament in this podcast.
Outlook on Air, and the guests just keep on coming.
And those guests do indeed just keep right on coming, and we're going to meet the Golf Volunteer of the Year, and that honor this year went to none other than Steve Blaskovich, and he is here in studio with me now to tell us more about being the Volunteer of the Year and a lot of other things as well. Steve, it is great to have you here, and why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to our listeners and tell us a little about yourself.
I'm Steve Blaskovich. I work for a company called Home Shield Roofing and Exteriors. I'm a project manager and estimator, and I've been in this industry for about 30 years. I graduated from Northwest Missouri State in 1993 with a degree in business management. A few years after that, I got into the home improvement industry to work with a friend of mine and his dad's company. I've never been able to leave it. They, no matter what I do, seems like good opportunities end up coming my way. And in the ever-changing business world of consolidations and whatnot, I've landed with a very good, wholesome family-run company that's based out of Lincoln. Like I run the Omaha operations, and been doing that for a long time and really enjoy it.
Sounds awesome. Sounds like it certainly keeps you busy on top of everything else.
It does indeed. I feel like I'm pretty much on call 24/7. If somebody needs help with when we get those thunderstorms and they get leaks that they didn't know they had, seems like my phone starts to ring and I get to meet new people.
I'll bet you do. How large an area do you serve? How far out do you go from here, from Omaha?
Most of my business is here in Omaha, but I do projects as far away as Niobrara, which is on the northern border between South Dakota and Nebraska. For the right opportunity, I'm willing to travel. My network is based here, so I don't get a lot of opportunities outside of town. But any of the bedroom communities around Omaha, like Blair, Wahoo, Glenwood, Iowa, Minden, I will travel a pretty good footprint of probably 60, 70 miles either direction.
Well, you'd have me covered because I live in Plattsmouth, so
absolutely,
that's what I was checking on.
Yep. A couple of years ago, Nebraska City had a hailstorm, and I did quite a few jobs down there.
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, that's good. If I ever need that kind of thing, or something starts leaking that I'm not expecting, or something, you might just very well get the call, sir.
Absolutely. Well, I've got excellent installers that are very responsive. They live locally here, just in a great group of people to work with.
Boy, that is great. Good deal. So, how in the world did you hear about Outlook Nebraska and Outlook Enrichment?
It's a great story for me personally because I am involved in networking, and I was just getting started in the networking here in Omaha. I was trying different groups and trying to become a member of a different group, and I got invited to just out of the blue, I got an email from a gal who I actually ended up doing her roof down the road, but she invited me to visit her networking meeting. And it was in that meeting that I met Nina Rongish. And she was, you go around in those meetings and you talk about, what needs that you have for your business or entity. And Nina had said that they had a golf program and they were looking for volunteers. Well, I've been playing golf since I was a very young age of 7 or 8 years old, so I've got about 50 years worth of golfing experience. I've always enjoyed being of service to people. I love to volunteer. When that opportunity was presented to me, it just clicked. I knew that it was going to be something that I would enjoy doing just because I love being around the game of golf, and this was going to expose me to the game of golf in a totally different way than I had ever experienced it.
Yeah, I can understand that. And you've certainly, and the reason you're here, we should probably talk about this as well, and we would have at some point, obviously, but you're here because you are the Golf Volunteer of the Year. So congratulations to you for that. And maybe you can take some time and explain how you actually got that honor and what kind of things you do as far as the golf program here that you've obviously gotten involved in.
Well, when I started 3 years ago, I call it like this is my third, we just completed our third season. And this year we started in January, and every 3 weeks we met on Saturday mornings, typically from 10 to 12. Here at Outlook Enrichment, we have a golf simulator. So we have a separate room where a golfer can, hit golf balls into a screen. It tells you how far it goes, spin rate, all these details that you don't really need to know, but they're fun to talk about. But 3 years ago, we started this program, and I mostly worked on the putting, and we had another gentleman that was doing the guiding in the simulator itself. And then as time went on, I transitioned to the simulator. And this year, when we started out, we decided, it was growing so much and the golfers were having so much fun that I suggested that we maybe start a little bit earlier. And so we started in January, went every 3 weeks. And then as soon as April rolled around, we started adding some extra time. So on Fridays, for an hour and a half in the afternoon, I would stop out and I would work with a couple golfers that actually work here at Outlook Enrichment. And then we would do our Saturday from 10 to 12. And we did that every Saturday from early April all the way up until the golf tournament, which is Tee It Up for Sight. It's our fundraiser for Outlook Enrichment. And that was June 3rd of this year. I didn't set out to win Volunteer of the Year. I didn't even know that Outlook Enrichment had an honor that they'd bestowed on one of their volunteers. So when I heard about it, it was, complete shock. I'm very honored. I feel extremely blessed. And, it's nice to be recognized, but I love this regardless of any sort of recognition. I just believe in showing up for people. And it's a little bit addicting because I know that every week that we're doing that on Saturday mornings, I'm going to have great camaraderie. I've made some great friendships with the golfers. And, sometimes when, like I'm in the simulator and in the other room, there is a volunteer working on the putting. And I'll have a few minutes before the next golfer comes in and I'll just sit and listen. And what I hear is amazing conversation, camaraderie, excitement, and everybody's interacting. And that is something that I think it's just so uplifting for me. It's just the room is just emanating joy. And that is something I think is fantastic.
Well, I can tell you from our side of the fence, I've talked to a number of golfers who have participated in the Tee It Up for Sight golf tournament and a lot of the golfing activities around here, and they are the first to tell me that they probably wouldn't be as far along in their game if it wasn't for you and the efforts that you just described where you come out here and help those folks. So if it's any comfort to you, that's why you got the Volunteer of the Year, I can tell you right now. And folks on this side of the fence are saying very good things about you and really enjoy and appreciate what you do for them.
Oh, I love the feedback and I really appreciate it. And, it just makes me want to keep showing up. And, something I decided, set a goal for myself after this Tee It Up for Sight tournament that I was going to do some training on my own to learn how to be a better golf coach. And one of the things that during the golf tournament at Tee It Up for Sight, they had a hole where they had the different goggles for like 4 different visual impairments. And I put on a pair of goggles and attempted to tee off. I hit about a foot behind the ball, barely hit it. It just rolled off to the left into the rough. And right then I had an idea. I need to practice in the simulator with those goggles on. Mm-hmm. And if I can figure out how to teach myself how to hit with those goggles on, and then I can better explain to them, how to get in a better position to hit. And, it's really all about, sound and feel. And so I try to work with the golfers to put them in the best possible position to feel what it's like to hit the ball right in the middle of the club. And it's a different feeling than it is when you hit it just off to the left or to the right, or miss it altogether, obviously. And the other thing that I seek out is sound. I want them to understand and to feel, not only feel it, but I want them to hear it. So they know when they have hit the ball straight just based off the sound. And the smile on their face when they hit the ball, what I call right on the screws, it's just amazing. And they're so eager to hit again, like again and again and again. And, sometimes I have to back them off a little bit and slow them down because golf is exhausting, especially when you're in a simulator, hitting ball after ball after ball. Yeah, so I really, really just try to make the experience something that they can grab onto, grab a hold of, and grow from.
Well, I think that's neat that you want to also experience somewhat, as much as you possibly can, what they experience, because as we talked about on your way in here, you are totally or completely sighted. So you are a sighted person, and I think that's important to point out, and you're trying to put yourself in the shoes of the people you're helping. I think that's fabulous.
Yes, absolutely. I like to refer to, our mind's eye. That's where we can imagine things. And if I can teach the golfers how to swing, to achieve the sound and achieve the feel, what I'm trying to do is have them be able to paint a picture in their mind's eye of what this looks like based on how it sounds and how it feels. And like I said, that part of it right there, like when you see them actually achieve that, it's very rewarding. Like I said, I just want to keep getting better at what I'm doing because I want them to get better at what they're doing. I don't want their progress to stagnate, and I don't want my progress as a coach to stagnate either. And it seems like the further we move along this path of success, we're all happier, and that's very rewarding.
Well, that is very neat. That's for sure. Now, you obviously, is this your first Tee It Up for Sight golf tournament that you've been in, or have you been in others as well? How long have you been doing this?
I started in about March of 2024. So this was my third Tee It Up for Sight golf tournament.
Can you take a minute and describe what the Tee It Up for Sight golf tournament is like in your best words? What's it like to go out there? I mean, you just go and do 18 holes and go home, or is it a party atmosphere? Can you kind of describe the Tee It Up for Sight golf tournament for those who've maybe never gone?
Yeah, typically, it's a fantastic networking event. This year we had 54 teams, so there was 108 golfers playing. So there's also a lot of support staff and other volunteers that are there to help us put this event on, and they come from all walks of life here in the Omaha area, different businesses. Some are entrepreneurs, some work for companies. I don't know if we did it this year because I was doing an interview prior, but sometimes there's a like a networking event before it starts. But then once the golf tournament starts, we play 18 holes of golf. They have different hole sponsors, and so typically, like every hole you go to, there's games you can play, or there's people set up tents, and they're advertising their own businesses and supporting us golfers. They have water there, like they have games, little prizes, stuff like that, to make it fun and interesting, kind of a diversion from just the golf itself.
Sure.
And then when we finish, there's a little bit of an award ceremony. There's always like raffle baskets where there's prizes that you can put your ticket into a basket for something that you like, and then they raffle those off at the end. And then of course there's pin prizes like longest drive and closest to the pin type of prizes as well. And then we have an excellent dinner it usually wraps up right around 5 o'clock or so. And, we start around 10 o'clock in the morning, doing with our networking. And then we have basically from 11 to 4:30, we have the golf tournament, and then we have a nice dinner afterwards.
Yeah, so it's a really fun day for everybody, and of course we always encourage people to come on out. We had Nina on here about a month or so ago, talking about the tournament, telling us a little bit about it as well. But with 54 teams, what a good turnout that was. I'm sure you were pleased with that.
Absolutely, and it filled up really fast this year. So the support that we get from the business community locally here is just fantastic. And, obviously, financial donations are awesome, but people donating their time and showing up is huge as well.
Absolutely. Anything else in the world of golfing that I didn't cover that you would like to? This is your opportunity to maybe fill in any blanks I might have left.
I think about the golf program a lot. And, with the things that we need are resources. And those are, that comes in the form of people volunteering their time. Obviously, donating money is always helpful. We have a lot of clubs that have been donated over the years. And the last 3 years, we've been using those clubs a lot. And what ends up happening is the grips wear out. And when the grips start to wear out on clubs, it's a little more difficult to strike the ball the way that it's intended to be hit, because the club will slip in the hands and you just don't feel as confident gripping it. So we need to be getting our clubs re-gripped. We could use, the balls that we've been using have been beat on pretty good for a while. So some upgrades there would be great. And I recently, this year, we acquired a couple of new golfers. And some of them have their own clubs, and some of them use the clubs that we have here. But one young man in particular, he's left-handed, so we don't have as many resources for left-handed golfers here as I would like. And he's about 6'4", and he's using clubs for somebody that's probably about 5'7".
Ooh!
So what I would like to be able to locate for him is somebody that has a set of left-handed clubs. It's a taller individual that is, several of us have clubs in our garages sitting, hanging on hooks or up in the storage. So I'd like to put the word out that I'd like to find a set of left-handed clubs for a taller person. And I would love to be able to present these clubs to this young man. I think that would make a huge difference in his golf game. And he's a very good player already. And I'd be excited to see what levels of success he could have if he had clubs that actually fit him a little bit better. And then there's also some equipment that I would like to attain that would help with swing path. So, for those that have zero eyesight or super limited eyesight, they would be able to, if there's some apparatuses that we could, purchase or that could be donated that would help everybody understand the appropriate swing path. And because if we can get the swing path set, then we can work on the feet and the transition of the weight through the golf swing. And, I'm convinced that if we had those types of tools, it would just help us get to that goal of help them achieve their goals even faster. Because everybody wants to get better at golf.
Sure. Well, and anything else that they endeavor to do with any great frequency, I would say. But great invitation to anybody who's listening to this podcast. If you're a golfer or golfers or, and again, we're always looking for donations and that kind of thing. We'll always accept them. All you have to do is listen for our contact information at the end of the podcast. We do give you ways to contact us. And if you're wanting to contribute or anything, believe me, we will certainly very happily accept those donations for the very reasons that you outlined, Steve.
That would be great. And I would, there's pretty much no limit to how far I would drive to pick up these clubs and any equipment that anybody that wasn't using that wanted to donate. I'd love to talk to them about it. And I encourage them to contact Outlook Enrichment so we can make that happen.
Awesome. Before we let you go, I should probably ask you, are you of course, golfing is probably closest to your heart, but I gather you're an all-around sports fan. You were mentioning tennis on your way in when we were talking.
Yeah, I love to play sports. I'm 56 years old now, and I've often commented to my wife, that it's kind of disappointing that, as adults, we don't play more. When I was young, especially in the summertime, every day we did something different. And, we'd play Wimbledon out in the street. We would play the British Open golf tournament around our neighborhood. So, yeah, I enjoy all sports. I love trying things that I've never done, just to learn a different skill set and to experience what something's like. And that could be anything from croquet to, back in the day we had lawn darts. I think they call them yarts, and I think they're banned now. But anything like that is involves being active and involving other people. Because I think that when we play sports for recreation or even competitive, it just breeds self-confidence and camaraderie. Really helps us feel good about ourselves, feel good about our environment. So I'm always trying to think of different things that I could introduce to Outlook Enrichment that may be of benefit. Playing a lot of different sports is something that's very important to me, and one thing is something I want to keep doing for the remainder of my life.
Well, that's awesome. And you're right. I think sports is one of those wonderful things that if you can get involved, you're going to make a lot of friends, just because everybody's much more relaxed, or apt to be anyway, than, at other times.
Exactly. And especially in a supportive environment where, when we are golfing in the simulator and there are other golfers waiting to hit, and they're sitting, in the back of the room, and they're rooting for each other. And so when somebody hits one well, there's like a roar that comes out of the other golfers. And that is something that really started this year. It's like in our third season. And like I said, when that stuff starts happening, it breeds the excitement, the joy, and it really makes them want to keep coming back, because something that they did elicited a reaction from the crowd. And, and that's something I think is special.
That is fantastic. Well, once again, Steve, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for taking some time out of your very busy day to come by and talk to us. Congratulations to you on being the Golf Volunteer of the Year. And like I say, people are saying real good things about you, so keep up the great work. And we really appreciate you being here today on the Outlook on Air podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. And thank you for I'd like to thank Outlook Enrichment and everybody here at the organization for nominating me. I look forward to doing it again, and I'm going to keep on showing up.
Well, folks, I'm afraid that's all the time we have for this edition of Outlook on Air, but we certainly hope you've enjoyed the program. We hope to see you back here again for another edition of Outlook on Air. And if you'd like more information about Outlook Enrichment, or anything Outlook for that matter, make sure you visit our website at www.outlooken.org. That's www.outlooken.org. Or you can always call us for more information, or to schedule any kind of an appointment at area code 531-365-5051. That's area code 531-365-5051. And don't forget to subscribe to our monthly newsletter so that you can find out when the next podcast is available. And we hope to see you then on the next edition of Outlook on Air.